bunch of different meetings to have. I think we should start with Gable. Gable, you had planned to talk to Wendell about Wendell's plans and perhaps find an information desk if you could.
I would love if this were sort of a meeting of the minds of all of Wendell's good close friends, because if today goes according to plan, this is us showing him off. So I imagine we're all on the deck. It's a nice-ish day, and we're all just sort of circled around him in a nice, calming circle, letting him come to things in his own time.
Wendell is currently on his back. You said this is the top deck of the ship. On his back, I think there is like an overhang that people use to like keep certain dry goods on top deck out of rain. He's sort of laying on his back in a spot beneath that wooden overhang, and he is just lazily throwing knives at the ceiling of that. And some of them are like sticking into the ceiling. Some of them are falling down, and they're falling down like right next to his face, sticking into the ground. He's not blinking. He's just throwing the next knife.
I imagine that me and Nodoze are next to him and any other NPCs who want to be there.
Well, it's definitely Pliff, because Pliff also attended the bachelor party. So we know Pliff and Wendell are close in some way.
Hey, buddy.
How's it going, champ? Oh, hey, guys.
So we're at a port, and this is a big port. It's a nice port. So that means we could, start making a little progress on your situation, if that's something you'd want.
Is that something you'd want?
My situation.
Yeah, buddy, your situation. We fell off the face of the earth for a year, and you were going to get married, and you're kind of nervous about checking back in because of, being gone.
Yeah, kind of leaving the loves of my life at the altar.
And that's not your fault. That is simply, I'm sure if you explained it real good, they wouldn't be upset at all.
And what kind of explanation would that be, Gable? Would I say, I was waylaid by the supernatural embodiment of forests for a year? So in a lot of ways, it was like I took a nap because I was enwrapped in vines and various wild animals asleep. So I just napped through the whole thing.
That's not your fault. And also, we live in the place where we live. That is not magics, and wildness is not impossible in this day and age. We just have to be covetous of the time that's given to us. And the time that's given to you right now, you are spending, I would say, unhealthfully. What do you think about that?
I'm going to be honest. Every time I think about the situation, every time I try to wrap my little brain around it, I just want to grab someone with my arm, and I want to squeeze them until they stop moving.
Gable takes a hand and presses against Pliff's chest to move him back a little bit.
I don't need it.
That's a reasonable response.
And if you could maybe just do us a favor and try to locate that feeling within your body, check in with yourself, notice, are you feeling any tightness anywhere? What's the physical sensation of that feeling like?
Yeah, what are your shoulders doing?
Now that you mention it, my shoulders do feel pretty tight.
Okay, great.
I guess I feel like a cannon shot through my chest and showers of blood have just been kind of pouring out of this empty hole for weeks.
Okay.
And I suppose I should have part of that feeling in my arm because I want to squeeze something until it stops moving. But I can't feel my arm because of some botched medical treatment I had a couple months ago.
Okay. All right. Hey, buddy, you stay right there, and I'm going to talk about something else with my friends over here. So you just stay put.
Okay, and you're sure you're not talking about me?
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about something else. All right,
Gable, what could we possibly be talking about that's more important than
I
want to be talking about?
I'm at a frickin' loss.
We couldn't possibly have pastry pies for dinner again. There's not enough pastry.
Gable, we haven't had pastry pies for dinner in a fortnight. Why would we?
Shush. All right, so I don't want to be prescriptive, but I need Wendell to leave here immediately.
I understand that. Here's my thing. His family, his place is north. Do you think that guy right there is going to be able to make all that way by himself without tipping off the red feathers that he is a part of our crew? Or that he is a pirate at all? Or maybe starting a fight just to feel something? He wants to squeeze someone until they stop moving, Gable.
That's a great point. Counterpoint, I think if he stays away any longer, he will implode like a diamond under pressure. Wait, no, that's not what diamonds do. What are things that implode? That are
things
pre-industrial.
Pre-industrial things.
Things that
would give us, so it's a lot of pressure, a souffle.
A souffle. He's going to collapse upon himself in a way that is both violent and very, very sad for everyone involved.
Just like a souffle.
Just like a souffle. It's going to be a very intense energy. So I don't know what to do. But we got to do anything.
Okay.
Truly anything.
Okay. Is there a way that we could find out what the situation with his family even is?
We don't even know if they stuck around and waited for him. Oromar was saying that earlier, and
your voice carries so far. It carries so far. I can hear it.
Bliff?
I can hear your tones echoing off the furnace. They bounce off the furnace.
Back and forth. But that's a fantastic point.
We should find out, though.
I've got an errand to run anyway. What I can do, I need to go to the reference desk, and I also need to send some mail. What I can do, in my investigations, ask about, what the vibe is with the at home, and if everyone's upset, or if they're upset but also miss him.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So you will, part of what you'll do at the reference desk is just figure out the Barge family situation.
What's the situation? And then I'll come back and, if there is a way for us to soup up his sort of acting abilities so he can at the very least get into character and not squeeze someone so hard that their head pops off if he does travel, fantastic.
We can see that currently Wendell has one of those small barrels, he's holding it as though it's a teddy bear, but we can see the rings and the staves start to buckle on the barrel as he just starts squeezing it harder and harder.
You're doing amazing, my good friend. Okay, I gotta do this ASAP.
Other pitch. What if we send him, when we find out either way of what his family's doing, and we want to send him, what if we send him with another crew member?
Sort of like a buddy system.
A buddy system. And maybe we hire the crew member to keep an eye on him. And so when they're done, then they come back.
Unless it turns into a bodyguard situation and they also fall in love through the dire circumstances.
Okay, so now
either way, it's a win.
But then it's like we've stumbled into another solution.
Only positives from what I'm seeing.
Only positives.
Fantastic.
Okay, but who on the crew could possibly deserve Wendell?
I know. Whom? Let's think.
I just realized that thinking is something that I do a lot better when I've had some rope. So maybe...
Interesting.
Maybe.
Go spark up.
Just go get...
go.
Just go smoke with Wendell. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, and that might chill his vibe out a little bit. I'm gonna grab some rope. I'm gonna get some lengths and
Nodoze, you could just say you wanted to take a smoke break. You could have just said that.
But it's for Wendell. I'm doing this
Wendell.
as it's a kind of a community service thing. Is what I'm into. Yeah. Sort of. That's how I'm going to do it. So we're at a fact-finding stage. We'll find some facts. We'll find facts first.
We'll find facts for sure. We will. All right. Gable walks over and bends down to Wendell, like, "Hey, I'm gonna go away for a little bit, but I'll be right back. I'll bring you some tasty candy or a nice treat. Is there anything you like?"
I like licorice.
Oh, see, you're already remembering the things that gave you joy. That's only upsides. Okay, buddy. Gable gives him a little, like,
my fiancé also liked licorice.
No. All right. I need you to. Okay, bye.
You see,
bye.
You see Nodoze sitting there with 2 lit ropes in his hand, just like looking at you, like, "What did you do? Why did you do this?" He's crying again.
Love you both. Gonna be back soon. Bye. Gable
rope
makes a beeline to wherever. I assume we know where the reference desk is.
I don't think you do.
I have to find it?
I think you're going to have to go out of your way here because, Liz, this is not a full-on town.
To the captain's quarters.
Bayless is pouring himself a drink.
Yeah, there's a meeting table.
Jonnit is smacking his hand and giving him the well.
Yeah. There are definitely there are nice bottles that you redirect to the normal ones. And Bathroom Barry is seated there. I think who do you want to talk to? Because you are potentially going to have to call for a vote. It really depends on what you're going to try to do. If you're calling for a vote, Nodoze and Wendell and Spit, having your back will considerably sway your chances. There's also potentially bringing Jane in. It is laying out for the people who have authority, the people who have ears of other crew members, what's going on.
Yeah. I think actually with that, I think maybe we're not in the captain's quarters. Maybe we're we're in the stables. Maybe Jonnit is tying Flea up and just kind of catching folks up as this is happening. I was already thinking Nodoze and Wendell, and Jane feels good too. I think we resume in the middle of the conversation after he's kind of detailed the things that have happened.
Is it okay to say that Bayless is given his this is what it's like to live here?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Character witness, for the town in a way, being this is what the debts are, this is what's happening, this is what the Crimson is, gives the whole lay down through Bayless.
And on top of that, we are in the crosshairs. This whole town is in the crosshairs of the Butcher. The Butcher was cast away by the original growth of fungus that was intentionally put here. That was protection. And over time, the butcher has become stronger, impatient. I'm not even sure what the deal is with the luminaries sometimes, but it's making its way back in order to get the butcher out of here, which I think is, and he's kind of like pleading to the group, I think that's kind of our deal. We want to protect people. In order to do that, we've got to make a play for the new fungus that the red feather is bringing into this area and straight up butchering. So, wow, I didn't mean to make that pun,
but it was cool.
But I did not mean, nobody give me credit for that. No one gives me credit for that. That was not intentional.
I give him a little credit for it.
Do not. This is Bayless. He's new.
I am Bayless. I'm new.
I'm thinking that, I guess, I don't know what the captain's up to. I'm waiting to hear back. But if we could...
Well, I mean, I can speak to that a little bit. The captain's got his eye on something. It's far off in the distance. I'm sure he's talked to you a little bit about it. Getting into this masquerade ball.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Really? Bayless like sitting over and it's like Captain's trying to get into the masquerade.
Jonnit, is that going to be a problem for us?
Him in general, or his realization, or him hearing these things? You know what? And then I think Jonnit is going to maybe do a sidebar with Spit, and is like, all right. So I think either we remove him from further conversation and fill him in for what we want him to know, or what is there any kind of contingency for like an emergency impromptu adding to the crew that we can do?
We'll have to talk about all of it with the captain. I think it depends on what we do, but I will play things closer to the chest from here on out.
Yeah.
The captain has his eyes on something in the future.
Mm-hmm.
The masquerade.
I think that's a sensitive operation, and I think we're stepping lightly right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Jane kind of leans forward and pipes up. And I really empathize with the plight of this area. This seems really bad.
It is. It is.
I definitely want to do something. I am concerned about the risk that generally exposes the crew to.
Yeah.
Right now, our big shield is that everyone thinks that we're dead.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah, we've been dark for a year. Don't ask why.
And we also, and this is just my personal observation and feeling, it feels like we get involved in a lot of stuff everywhere we go. And it gets very dangerous.
Yeah.
And I understand that is part of the lifestyle. That is what we signed up for.
As heroes, yeah.
But we got to apply the resources that we have intelligently. I think what you're talking about, the Red Feather set up this operation to make a profit. It's been making them profit. If we shut down any part of that, there's no way you do that with closed hands. You know, they're going to notice the disruption. And unless something really dramatic happens, that's not going to stick around. Unless something really dramatic happens, they're just going to set things up over again after we leave. So, I mean, Spit said something about burning the whole town down.
Yeah, exactly. And we see Bayless like sitting on like a barrel going, we burn everything to the ground, salt the land that we're here, and we leave. Do you know what it's like? Do you know what it's like to like have no hope whatsoever that anything in the next 10, 20, 30 years are ever going to go in your favor? Like, the fact that you are all here gives me the level of hope that I have not had since I was 10.
And that is part of the point. And I think I have set up 4 different votes right now representing the different people that you're talking to and how I think they are going to sway the decision. That is a point of how we operate. This is the type of place where the Uhuru leaves a mark. Whether the captain's in charge of the ship or not, that is historically what the Uhuru has been, and that's typically how we vote. I think something ought to be done, even if I don't know what. Then the other question that we need to consider is how to think tactically about this situation. Jane is correct. Something very dramatic would need to happen for us to do something here that has any meaningful effect. We could pack the ship to the gills with every conscripted worker and just fly them away. But in a few months' time, the Red Feathers would simply ship more people down here. I don't know how long that would take, how much time it would buy, but it seems like the people that you met who inhabit this area would just have to contend with that threat so long as there is still a root. If we are removing the weed, we must take it all the way down.
Is there anything to the destruction of the new Grusova plant? It seems as though the Red Feathers aren't necessarily worried about the old Grusova. That is, they are cultivating the new plant to harvest in their factory. If we destroy the new Grusova, it doesn't end it, but it sets them back a good deal. It shuts down the whole area.
I don't think you're wrong about that. Looking at their operations and the way they typically move, they reached capacity with production based on the original Grusova gardens, and they tried to expand that. I think it is within the ability of the Uhuru, Jonnit, if you are able to stop these plants, and we'll lean on you a bit, I do think it is within the capability of the Uhuru to hit those various garden locations and allow you the space you need to remove them, and perhaps even do that subtly. Perhaps do that without being noticed. However, that means the factories remain. That means the people who are in power now remain. And I don't know if there is a way for the Uhuru alone to do that without tipping our hand.
What if, and this is a bad idea, and I'm going to lead with a bad idea, knowing it's a bad idea, but using this as a jumping off point. Jonnit is gesticulating wildly to the group. It's a jumping off point for further conversation from the larger team. What if we go after the new Grusova, we knock that stuff out, and then we plant the butcher's killing intent cleaver in the upper administration of the Red Feathers. Hear me out. The old Grusova protects and wards off the butcher. So the Hale could potentially be in a safer spot. We knock out the new Grusova, that shuts down the factory, then we knock out the admin types, and hopefully that shuts down the factory even more long term. Maybe that gives an opportunity or an opening for the conscripted to take the facility for themselves.
Honestly, hi, Bayless Gale new. I think if you were to empower us as the debtors, we could take this place. If there's enough of us, I would say that we could. I mean, obviously the Red Feathers will come back and probably kill us all afterwards.
Look, I'll tell you this, Bayless. Unquestionably, you and the other debtors in this place, if you were all to unite in purpose and function, you absolutely outnumber your captors. You don't out-resource them, or didn't until we were part of this equation. But you outnumber them probably more than 10 to 1. And how many people acting as guards right now are debtors. That the gentleman that we brought onto the ship was serving a guard role, but he was also a debtor.
Yeah, we all are. There's nobody that works here that isn't in debt.
But let me ask you this, Bayless. You're afflicted with this crimson, yes?
Yeah.
It causes you a great deal of pain if you experience something painful, a great deal more than an ordinary person, right?
Yeah.
I've been in a lot of fights over the years, and even when you have the advantage of numbers, morale is deeply, deeply important. There are going to be moments where push comes to shove, and I have to say, I don't doubt you will, but I think you're all sick. And if we think about leveraging that strength, that's something that we have to take into consideration.
Let me say this. The fact that all of you are here to begin with, that you're even willing to help, is a great instigator for us. For me, like, just the other day, I would never have even considered this.
We're not saying that we don't think you're going to stand up. That is not what Spit is trying to imply. It is that we could rally you to cause, rally you to move, and then during the ensuing chaos, the toll will set in. If enough people break, if enough people are injured, it could turn into a situation where many more of you die than would need be.
Then we just leave. What if we just had everybody who's in debt leave?
Well, that creates a problem for everybody else aboard the ship. I don't want to be the voice of bad news or whatever, but if we take a bunch of refugees onto the ship, there is absolutely no way we can ensure that none of them are going to talk.
No, I mean, what if we just leave the town and go into the grasslands for a while? What if we just put down all of our working implements and walk out of town?
I feel like I need to remind you that earlier today you had a completely different viewpoint of what the grasslands entailed and who was in them and if they were, good people or not. I'm not saying that that's not a bad idea. I'm not saying that that's a bad idea. I'm just saying
not
that
an easy one. Yeah. No. You're right.
I think we need to consider all the resources that we have here. When you're cleaning a bathroom, if you only look at your brush or your spray bottle, you're either just gonna move shit around or you're cleaning shit with your hands.
I'm sorry, who is this?
this is Barry.
Is he janitor?
He's the wisest man on the ship.
He's a janitor?
But he is also a janitorial role. But
I've done janitorial stuff. Yeah, no, I understand.
Okay, we get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jonnit, are there any resources we're not thinking about?
Well, what's the name of it? Rashoa. I've recently been put into contact with another seer, or the remnants of another seer, and he reaches into his bag, pulls out the box, does a quick check to make sure that the box is in good-looking condition. He's like, all right, I did a good job. All right. And he opens it up, shows it, and this is the remnants of a seer that was a part of the Hale community. And through it, I've been able to see the locations of the new Grisova that we can use to our advantage. That might give us an edge. We also have the schedules and the shifts that the factory operates on. It's not a full picture yet, but we have information on where the Red Feathers will be at any point in time during the day, and also where we need to hit.
I am fairly confident. Again, I will reiterate, we can perform that operation, and we can, if things go well, we could perform it in a way that nobody would know that it happened until it's already over and done with. That I am not concerned about. It is the aftermath of that. It is what this place is after we return to the sky. And if it is still functioning, then we have lessened some harm for a few people, but all that is happening now will continue to happen. I think the Uhuru, most certainly within its capability, either with the weapons that it has, the able-bodied fighters that it has, I think it would be a simple matter for us to overthrow the town. But there is no way for us to do that without declaring to the world that the Uhuru has returned.
Why is that bad?
Because people are trying to kill us.
And?
We don't want that.
Well, yeah, but people were trying to kill you all the time.
Well, have you ever been hunted and then looked up and you weren't being hunted?
I was offered that role one time. One of the red.
I'm willing to hunt you for sport, my boy.
How much were you willing to take off my debt to do that? I was offered that. I didn't go with it, but Matilda did. Poor Matilda.
When you put yourself in a dangerous situation, the people close to you pay a price.
Yeah, we know.
But there's also the wrinkle. We have an element of surprise in people thinking that we are gone right now.
It's an important tactical advantage.
For what?
That is not for you to know, frankly.
Okay. But
Jonnit goes to Jane and is like, thank you. I was going to say that is unclear to us right now, but
I think it is important because you are basically talking about all of our lives and our livelihood. You're basically, I have come to you and asked for this one chance for us to get out from underneath the boot of these people. If you are not willing to go all the way to do that, then I kind of want to know why.
Bayless, you're not the only town. This isn't the only place that suffers because of the Red Feather Syndicate. I understand that there is a series of horrors that are paraded in front of you every day, but that is true for the rest of the rediscovered world as well. We are one ship and one crew. We have the ability to do things to make a difference in people's lives. But every time we do, everyone on the ship gets a say as to whether or not they're on board. When I am going to ask my friends, my comrades, the people who will be fighting at my side that I would kill and die for to do something, I need to make sure that it is a good decision for everybody involved. Captain Orr Marvale has accomplished a lot in his life. And that is because he is a careful thinker and planner. And one thing that he has made abundantly clear to us is that he has a plan. And part of that plan calls for subtlety. So out of respect for that, I think I want to investigate whether or not this is a good move, or if there is a way to make it in a way that makes sense for the ship.
So what I'm hearing is you can bring hope. You just can't finish.
I am being extraordinarily patient right now.
As am I. For most 10 years of my life, I've been incredibly patient. All of us have, waiting for something. And you are the something. If you're not the something, just say so.
If we do this for Sorrow's End, there is a good chance that it will not allow us to do it at a bigger scale. We could help Sorrow's End, or we could help everybody.
And we don't necessarily know that that's the crossroads that we stand on right now. Part of this discussion, and the reason that we are having it before immediately putting your issue to vote aboard the ship, is we need to know that there is a way that allows us to help you in a way that really matters. Because, frankly, we could just take you away on the ship, take you away from this place, and everybody else here would continue toiling away in their miserable lives, but it would be so safe and so easy for us to simply take you, and we could solve a small problem, but that leaves a larger one behind.
I wouldn't want that.
It's matters of scale. I'm no one who's saying no, but the yes needs to be thoughtful and careful. I've been on this ship a long time. I know how we do things. Jonnit, you're a leader aboard this ship. You know how we do things. Is there a way for us to leverage more that's less of a risk? And what I'm getting at, the heart of the Bandit Queen, you are owed 100 favors by the Tempest Armada. Where we're at, you and Bathroom Barry are 2 Captain's Council members. I think you can call a quorum to call for a vote on the ship for the Uhuru's next action. I think you have the authority to use one of the favors of the Heart of the Bandit Queen. There are 100. I think you've used 1, so you're down to 99. Down to 99. Like, I think you could decide unilaterally to do that. And what that would do is you would call in another pirate ship to get involved in this operation. It does introduce other uncertain elements, but the story flying away from here can be that it was another ship.
Yeah.
Heck, use 10. Bring 10 ships.
I would say, what? So we have 99 favors.
Yes, and the other thing also is you. I think very clearly with this strategy meeting, you have made it clear you have the capability of shutting down the new Grosova and doing it in a way that nobody finds out about it. I will also point out, Tyler, you came up with a pretty unique solution for dealing with the butcher. Yeah, you're right. You could probably just bury the cleaver in one of the Grosova plants and it would eat away at that butcher killing intent, and that would probably more effectively seal it away than anything else that folks could come up with.
Skyjacks.
Is possible? What's going on?
I think it is we roll up.
Flatbread party!
Yeah, truly, it's that. Flatbread!
Flatbread party! Get your flatbread. It's
flatted
free.
bread. Oh, come sup upon the flatted breads.
Hey, go tell everyone. There's a flatbread party going on.
And I think, like, kind of immediately, the salaried employee on shift comes over and goes, whoa, what's going on here?
It's a flatbread party, sir. We were allowed to have one.
Plan that Nodoze introduces a dessert flatbread.
People are fucking crazy.
Yeah. Truly. Cinnamon sugar. Whoa!
On my birthday?
The cinnamon's on this table. The sugar's on this table.
The butter's on the other side. It's not melted, though. The melting station's over here.
Yeah. And all of this has to be set up far enough away from where you are working because they don't want a risk of contamination. So, like, you do have, like, this private area, but you dig into the mound. And it's like fairly deep into the mound. Luckily, like the earth around this is loose. I think, Jonnit's got his earth magic too. So like maybe that's factoring into things a little bit. But things come away and you do reach a body.
No, I guess you're right. We can't. And we have no idea about, do we even know what happens when you burn this stuff?
I mean, it goes into the air, which crimson in your lungs. No,
Bad.
No.
Okay. So fire. No.
All right. So then, I guess Jonnit is going to.
I mean, vinegar. Vinegar kills mold, right?
What? How am I going to give vinegar and
Wait a second. And Bayless gets up and he's like, do whatever you need to do here.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back. There is vinegar. There's at the party.
Yeah.
So he does go back and like he goes as close as he can. And he's like, Charlene.
Well, you've got conspirators because Wendell is running a table.
Yeah.
Or not Wendell. Nodoze and Jane are running tables.
Big guy.
Me?
Yeah.
Me?
Yes. Yeah. Hand me that malt vinegar.
He hands it to you. He's like, this is normal. Like,
Thank you. Keep going.
You're being weird about this.
I'm not being weird about this. Bay less.
Dang.
I think at that moment, like Jonnit, like just probably shakes his head, takes off on Flea, with obviously Nodoze and Jane. You take off, and we can see like the Grosova garden like slowly grow smaller and smaller as you can see like the different collection areas around the area, and you swoop over Sorrow's End, the main structures of Sorrow's End. You can see the factories, and as you look down, you can see a commotion. It looks like there are many panicked workers gathered in front of the factories. You don't know what's going on, but you can hear the emergency bells ringing throughout the town and community because something has happened. And we'll join with the rest of the party next time to see how they complicated your plan.
Yeah, okay, this whatever this
went
is
too
bad.
well.
Yeah. Yeah. This was for an Uhuru plan. This was awesome.
Merge onto a visible spot on top of the factory.
Does a panel just get torn open from the inside?
Ooh.
Just a lot of a sudden like, yeah! Like claws out, like screaming, help!
Like as Jonnit is circling around the outside, we see like a metal panel on the exterior of the factory tremble and then tear asunder as Gable ? Emerges.
Yeah. What? Okay. And at that, I mean, does Jonnit's very freaked out. I think, Jonnit kind of like turns back to like a Jane or a Nodoze and just like, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Because we've got a clawed out Gable
skittering on the roof now, just like a
just real quick, it's like, you're seeing this too, right?
Yeah, and I think Jane looks like similarly shocked and horrified. It's like everybody's used to seeing Gable. Everybody's used to seeing Gable be pretty fierce, but like not monstrous, you know. It's probably even an adjustment for everybody who's fought alongside Oromar with his new bone-shaping powers. It's just a lot to take in. I think Nodoze, on the other hand, like is blushing right now, kind of like looking at, you know, there is, I feel like if Tumblr was a thing, Nodoze could easily get into the monster fucking crowd.
Nodoze, no.
And I think there's something metaphorical that he appreciated about Gable's ferocity that is now like a physical manifestation. And so he's processing a lot. And the situation is definitely too tense for anybody to notice, but he's got some things to reckon with later.
Jonnit kind of gives like Jonnit puts Flea into a bit of a dive, to then like very obviously like fly by Gable. And as he's flying, as he's flying by, he just screams out, "You good?" And so he's going to Jane is like, all right, I'm gonna drop down, give us 3 circles around, and then get ready to pick us up, okay?
Jane salutes, and how does Jonnit drop onto the roof like a cool guy?
Gliders.
Oh yeah.
And so I think at that, he truly just like he like kind of puts his feet up. He swings his feet over to one side of Flea, puts his hands on the side, and just with both like feet and hands just does a full body push off of Flea. And
and then like almost immediately he hangs in the air for like a second or two, but then like his like glider, he puts out one glider gauntlet and kind of just like makes a just a spiral down to the roof.
Gable is immediately talking to the captain like, no, don't come down here, stay up. Damn it.
Don't worry, I'm coming down.
No.
The circumstances have changed so significantly, we should let them know.
It's fine.
And so I think at the top, like Jonnit touches down as quickly as like one can rebound from like essentially parachuting down to the ground. He like bounces back up and like on the hop makes his way over to Gable. We're ready to get back in the air as soon as you are. What is going on?
Don't worry about it. Yes, and let's go.
Well, and I think in that, like, it's probably one of the things, like, they immediately join up in, like, in running towards the side of the roof. And probably just, like, I don't know, jump to get on the flea.
We do a double jump.
Yeah.
And, like, maybe you're jumping onto it, and I'm trying to catch onto, like, the below with all my claws.
Yeah. We see Flea's talons grasp your smaller talon.
We're holding hands. I
think echoing in Gable's head, Oromar, we get a brief shot of the inner space, and weirdly enough, there are now those kind of spider control strings that Oromar normally uses to move their body around that have manifested. Maybe they even look like thin strands of water, since that's what is kind of in this large plane of the inner space. That. If you need to dismiss the effect, all you need to do is sever the strings.
You do have a bottle of this poison that you procured sitting somewhere in Gable's pocket, and you're probably about to go into an action-oriented situation. You can keep everybody in this party. You're definitely entitled to do that. That will aid you in certain ways, but it will put that bottle at risk of if there is a disaster, that's going to break and affect whomever is nearby.
Can't do that. While the thought flashed through my head that it would be very funny to splash the entire 2 liters across Truss, that would ruin the plan for the future. So let's keep that on deck. Now, who do you think is going to fight harder on Gable's behalf? Nodoze,
the bird.
Considering. Or
we know. Yeah.
I like the idea of there being an additional motivation in Nodoze being able to throw hands under current circumstances, but Jane doesn't necessarily got to throw hands in general either, so I'm fine with either of them staying, but one of those two should probably go back with the toxin and a message.
Gable, like, knows that Flea has to leave, but I think Gable is also, like, legitimately thinks that Flea can talk and is just pretending not to.
Love that.
Just like, I don't know. I know that Flea can say words, I know.
Every time you two make eye contact with each other, it is this kind of standoff of, well... Come on. Is this the moment? Are you finally going to admit it?
One of these days, Blaze is going to talk to me. All right, Jane, you can go. Nodoze, you have to help me, but help my claws. I just clack them.
All you need to do is sever the cord when you are ready.
Just click, 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 click.
All right. So are you handing Jane, like...
Yes, I would love for Jane to go and take the toxin and fly back. And,
so Jane doesn't know about that, so somebody has to give an order.
Sure. I mean, I can do it in character voice. That is also fine.
Please, yes. Please.
Again, through Jonnit.
It would be through me. Jonnit's voice drops like a whole register and a half.
Whoa.
Does Jane have a surname?
Jane.
It feels out of character for Oromar to not use somebody's full name if they know it.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think it is just Jane. Typically,
that's fine.
Yeah, I think I think the thing that we've almost established for the world is when people don't have surnames, it is kind of their profession that you reference.
Jane Skyjacks.
Jane Skyjacks.
Mm-hmm. We're siblings.
Fair enough. Jane Skyjacks, I would love for you to return to the Uhuru with both a message and a delivery. We have managed to procure the very dangerous toxin from the factory that will be used in the future, but it needs to be kept safe and intact.
What the fuck are you talking about? We've been together the whole time.
It needs to be kept safe and intact, Jane.
What? And like Jane, like kind of looks at Nodoze and Gable, like, what the fuck is going on here?
I just wave with my claws, just like, I don't know.
Jonnit's pinky is dangling like a slinky.
Right, I understood. I skipped a step here. I'm speaking to you through Jonnit Kessler. This is the captain speaking.
Wow. Why? Yes, sir. Yes, Captain. She salutes at Jonnit, who does technically outrank her anyway. So like mid through the salute, it actually becomes, well, that's natural, I suppose. And then turns to Gable, who she knows was in the factory, and like places a hand out.
Holds out their hip, like I can't pick it up.
Yeah,
so if you just want to take it off my
grabs it and goes, I will make sure that we scramble the ship at this point.
Ultimately, those who are prepared to go and fight, they should already be aware of the dangers of chemical infection. So those who are willing to fight in that field and have the adequate both hand and mouth protection should be ready to fight Red Feather incursion. Otherwise, make sure everybody is safe with priority.
Covering your mouth is one thing. Is like, do we have to worry about this thing just like making any kind of skin contact?
Hopefully, what Gable and I have done will reduce the amount of air particulate. I do not believe the Red Feathers will be using the toxin as an offensive weapon, but we need to make sure that we don't have to minimize the amount of medical triage we can do on the other side of things.
All right. What should our priority target be, Captain?
Any Red Feather on site with a weapon must die.
Jane salutes and gives Flea the signal to take off. Flea, again, looks at you, Gable, and like you could swear this bird is smug. You could swear this bird like definitely could have spoken in this moment.
You
but
asshole. You jerk. You little asshole. One of these days.
As Flea takes off, Jonnit is just like very casually to himself, but also I guess if he thinks that he's probably, the captain's going to hear him, but it's like, that was the most cold-blooded sentence that's ever come out of my mouth. And I didn't say it, but I did, but also Jonnit will remember that.
Video game.
Yes.
Jonnit will remember that.
Internally, so I guess in Soto, your mouth does not physically move. While I would love for there to be peaceful times where you will never need to say that to Jonnit Kessler, you might one day have to get used to how that feels.
Thank you for the onboarding, Captain.
We cut to around the town.
Before we cut away from, I would love to be around and in that scene. So if we want to kind of cut to the roof, Jonnit, who I think I was previously possessing, Oromar is just not there. You do not feel the presence of Oromar Vale within you right now.
It's like, all right, so we get in, we find your body, and we try to get the butcher out, and then
Or do we wait for the butcher to take care of Trust before we... Captain? Captain?
Is he not there anymore?
Is he with you?
Nope.
Okay.
Is he with you, Nodoze?
No? What?
Oh, okay. I think we gotta go in.
Yeah. I imagine a hatch flies open, bodies like from looking up at the opening of the hatch, bodies like fall through past cameras, past frame.
Has Gable and Jonnit still kept their bone shaping?
Yeah, I still got my little claws.
Mm-hmm. You know, fingy.
I've been poking Nodoze on the neck with it, like bing, bing. Is it weird?
Blushing furiously. Yes, it's weird. Bing. Yes, it's a weird feeling.
It's weird.
Where do unless we want to go to the captain, but like where do we drop in from like I guess the topmost point of this?
There is I'm going to say like almost an attic storage space. It looks less homey. This is mostly like paper records and that thing, that sort of thing. There's not as much dust as you would see in most attics. Like this is like clearly a space that has people move through it every now and then. It's not as well insulated as the rest of the building, but apart from that, you know, it feels like it feels different than most attics because again, this is an office that has been made an office out of a home. So there are like I think 2 different exits that you can see, like with stairs that kind of drop down. You have a couple different options of how you can get into the main spaces here. And you do have a couple minutes thinking about what you want to do with all of that.
I'm going to walk the path. I'm going to spend 4, and Jonnit is going to just like get an immediate read on where the captain's body is.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. So you open your eye. We move to the top of the initiative order and another NPC slot.
Oh, okay.
And it should be Nodoze.
Oh, that's true. That's true. We do need.
It should be Nodoze.
I'm going to add another PC slot to the order just so we have that in play. So Nodoze can take a turn, but let's return to thrashing at the ends of their bayonets, who were once their friends, like just striking at them with bone shard arms and whatnot, and then fire waves over them, and the kind of murderous glee that was in their eyes fades away to like a fear. They fall off the ends of those bayonets and their wounds close up instantly.
Blah.
Yeah. So the Red Feathers are kind of terrified of what's going on there. We are now at, let's see, we did the PC, NPC. Okay. So we have a bunch of Red Feather soldiers that have entered the room trying to evaluate what is going on here. They see Labalest restrained, and they like the most immediate threats of the Red Feather soldiers that were like attacking people have been taken care of. They need to react in a split-second decision. They raise their muskets to fire against Oromar's body, essentially. Okay. Overall, they just fail. I think what happens, they raise their muskets, but they are really, really freaked out about what's going on. And they are Red Feather soldiers in Sorrow's End. They are really not prepared for any of what they are seeing. And I think they just fire too quickly and miss their shot. We now come to another PC slot. This
Nodoze hasn't gone in a while.
I believe can be for Nodoze, yeah. Who wants Nodoze?
Sure. So Nodoze has been watching full shenanigans kind of occurring in this room, and has, I guess, seen Gable be in an unfavorable position. Nobody is currently aggressing Gable right now. They've managed to kind of get targets off themselves. I think in that case, I would love for Nodoze to make a pursuit after Truss.
Okay. Yeah.
Since she's fled
Nodoze,
the room.
Yeah, has a mind on the mission, and basically, as these red feathers, and maybe this played into why these red feathers failed, as these red feathers raise their muskets to fire on the captain, they are bowled aside as Nodoze pulls out his spear and charges through this narrow hallway, basically pushing them to the side, causing their shots to go askew, and then booking it down the hallway after Truss. And I think that Nodoze will be able to arrive at Truss just as she has formulated her plan. So I don't know that we'll have time for an action from Nodoze, but if
he is currently here,
make I don't know, some kind of a perception check or something. I think I could allow that.
Yeah.
If there's something that you're looking for,
because I guess I know that I would probably need to make some kind of roll as Oromar if I want to kind of make Truss do an involuntary action. But
yes, you would.
Yeah. Even if there's just a way of, rather than, we've established that it's possible to radiate killing intent on command. I wonder if there is the ability to radiate noble intent on command. Just a vibe that is so unlike what we understand Truss as being. Even if Oromar does not physically make her do anything, there is something spiritual there that kind of suggests that there is something different about her.
Gotcha. Okay, so this would be for Nodoze
to kind of notice there is weird energy kind of coming off this woman that isn't what should be occurring.
I like that. I am going to... I think that's going to be hard.
Sure.
Do you want to commit or overcommit to this action?
Let's not overcommit. Let's just regular commit.
All right. So we have a D8 versus 2 low stakes dice.
Nodoze already has somebody who he's committed to, and I wouldn't want there to be, toes stepped on, right? It still resolves as 2 successes.
Wow!
Yeah.
Holy cow! Nodoze has sharp eyes. I think it helps that Nodoze has lived so much of his life as a pirate and been in many, many chaotic battle scenes. You have to be able to take in a lot and make snap decisions all at once, because the cost of not being able to see what's going on could be accidentally harming friends. Nodoze bolts into the room, and the people in the room turn, and Nodoze gets his eyes on Truss. And he's able to intuit, I think, 2 things very clearly. Nodoze has never seen Truss before, but immediately understands who she is and what's going on, but also looks into Truss's eyes, and there is a sparkle in that eye that almost communicates a captain's orders of wait. And so Nodoze does not take aggressive action, has merely appeared in the room and understands that the situation is more complicated than it might immediately appear. We're going to move to an NPC can still prevail in this situation, or you can have her be so focused on rejecting your offer that she does not that she is not able to give an order regarding Nodoze, because Nodoze has just shown up in the room. There's a lot of chaos moving back and forth. So you can either stay the course and hit her, pay into this, and I don't know that you'll be able to
succeed on
take
this
her out
one
in one fell swoop, but like it will play heavily into her, you know, against her belief that she can succeed.
If I don't start whittling away at it, I am never going to get her to submit. So I think we will go for the damage into this instance. We've got to forge that ahead.
Okay. So then how much damage are you doing overall?
So sorry, remind me how you did say, and then it slipped out of my ears.
1 to 2. It's a 1 to 2 ratio. So you spend
one point. I will
spend
2 points to deal 4 damage.
Okay, to deal 4 additional. So that'll be 10 overall. Excellent. So Truss is definitely, like, you can see that she feels the vulnerability of her position right now. She is pacing throughout this space as you watch her. Don't think, Mr. Vale, that I have not noticed the series of events that have preceded all of these offers, nor that I haven't noticed the similarity between your form here and Mr. Labaleste. I imagine that if you were taking pains to stop yourself from attacking me, that you have set everything to put this plan into motion, and perhaps there is a chance that it is not going exactly as you would. But I do know that you are a bargaining sort, that it would only benefit you if I were to accept any measure of your help whatsoever.
See, the thing is, Edith Truss, whether you take my help or not, terrible things are going to befall you. And, well, wouldn't you like to go out on your own terms?
My thoughts exactly, Mr. Vale. And she kind of will pull away from her. So you have definitely eaten into her resolve. She is now showing more of a face than she is confident in her actions. There's like not much that she has left.
Can I get in this instance, maybe she forgets to kind of talk within the inner space here, since we've got the opportunities on deck.
Absolutely.
So she says this out loud to nobody, and Nodoze hears this.
And I think the room, like, kind of an icy quiet falls over the room as she, like, pulls back up. We'll need an NPC slot before we address her and what she's doing. But before we have that, we have a PC slot.
Part of me is like, do your thing. I was like, Nathan, go again.
You okay with me going again?
You're projected on
fair enough. Okay. Thinking of other ways that I can use my abilities at hand in a way that. All right. In this case, then, we're going to switch tactics again. I like the idea of using lots of different avenues to achieve the same thing and not twice in a row. We're going to go reputation now.
Ooh, okay.
The Oromar within the space grows in size, and we start to kind of, even though the inner space of Edith Truss remains the same, there is now the sound of like arena battle, salty sea air, the breeze of airships moving at speed through this space. My reputation does precede me. I'm sure you thought it was a luxury to not have somebody like myself interfere with your plans for an entire year, but you knew this kind of thing would be coming. You wouldn't be planning such massive things if you didn't think retribution was possible. And I'm sorry to say, the retribution has clearly come for you. Your time is up.
Okay. Yeah. Once again, roll that attack.
Okay, we are going to. So I can spend to modify the roll outgoing first. Can I?
Yeah. So what would basically, and I want to clarify that when you spend to add damage to a roll, you do it before you make the
right.
roll.
Okay.
So you tell me if you're upgrading dice or whatever. She is going to spend a little bit to upgrade her defense in this situation. You're going to be rolling against one high stakes and one low.
Okay, let me add that in first. Clear that. By default, I roll 2d8. We're going to go and spend 4. 2 to add another d8. And then 2 to upgrade some. A d6, and then upgrade those d8s to d12s.
Okay.
Also, because this now puts me at 4 or below on reputation, I activate You Know Who I Am, gain 1 opportunity on social roles when personal reputation is at play. So there'll be an additional opportunity regardless of how this shakes out. But oh no. It is 1 failure, 1 complication, and I guess 1 opportunity.
Oh dear.
Well, so the opportunity cancels out the complication. So what this is overall a failure.
Damn.
And I think she says this aloud as she is now moving through the room with purpose. And basically pushing open a window here and goes, "You are right, Mr. Vale. I have indeed anticipated reprisal, both from outsiders such as yourself and within the syndicate itself, and even from Bishop Aravetti. Being in power means that everyone who stands around you is some degree of enemy, even your closest allies. We're heading to the ship," she calls to everybody in the room. There is a small contingent of soldiers in this room as well. She points them to Nodoze. "Cover our exit." And she is going to make a move as we've gotten to an NPC slot. She does not have much left in her. What is going to happen? She is going to spend another 4 on Raise Alarm, and she is going to spend another 4 on Always a Way Out, and basically maneuver from the back of the house. So we've got Aravetti and his people burning things down on one side, and we've got her emerging from this place on the other side, and with a small contingent of like pencil pushers and dock workers trying to move towards the Red Feather vessels at dock and get them to take off. Nodoze is now in the room with a small group of Red Feather soldiers in front of him as we move to a PC slot.
Okay, Liz, are we both? Is Gable and Jonnit, are they both in the same room still? We're still
they're both. You're both
other,
like in the room with the butcher.
Bet. The folks around you have.
They are off of
The last thing that happened was the butcher attacked a new group of soldiers that entered the room. He cut them with Oromar's sword. They ran into the room, raised to fire their guns at him. Nodoze charged them, prevented them from shooting the captain, and took off behind them. They were kind of reeling from that when the butcher broke free of his restraint and attacked those guards. So they have now been cut.
Okay. Is there any kind of semblance of fire in this room?
Not yet. Next round, the fire is really going to make itself known.
Okay. All right. Well, then Jonnit is going to Jonnit's going to square up on the butcher. Right. I think Kasari Gama in one hand, Cleaver in the other, and he's like, we need you where you are. So you can't leave, which means you and me.
Okay.
Let's see. We are going to... Yeah, this feels like more finesse-y. So if I were to come at the butcher,
With my 3 diamonds, what do I roll against?
So you are going to roll against 2 high-stakes dice.
That is 1 success and 2 complications.
Hey. Excellent. So you definitely hit. Let's start with those complications first.
Can I make with the caveat of like upon squaring up to the captain, it becomes like very aware, like apparent in Jonnit's body that it's like the captain would probably like to inhabit this thing later.
Yeah.
This vessel later. And so we're squaring up, but we're trying to stall because Jonnit's not entirely sure how to beat the butcher without maiming the captain, if he could even.
I've put you in a very difficult position, and I apologize.
This is good. I think you're hitting, and you're gonna get a solid hit. The damage on your Kusarigama is like base 4, right? I think we wrote that down somewhere because I'm pretty sure it's a signature weapon.
Yes.
Yeah. So it would. Where do you? So yeah, this is a solid hit. And did you say there were opportunities with that, or
just the intensify? Just
the intensify. Okay. Yeah. So you go up. You punch the butcher. Where do you punch the butcher? How do you punch the butcher?
Where I think the soul is, which is in the head. So I unfortunately punched the captain in the head.
The soul is stored in the head.
That's where I think it is.
Yeah, this is a moment that, maybe gets played in like one of the intro sequences for Skyjacks. That he closes his eyes, those flames roar hotter. And now I think within the room where this struggle is taking place, you can see the smoke start to billow up. You can definitely see that in the room where Nodoze is facing off against the guards, smoke is starting to enter. So it is now clear that this place is on fire. We move over to another NPC slot, and I'm going to give this one in a new initiative round, and I'm going to give this one to the guards. The guards that are squaring off against Nodoze. I think they're in a precarious position where they're not really very it's a small group against an experienced pirate. Even if they outnumber him, there's not a lot they can do in this circumstance. So they are going to roll an attack, because if they don't do that, I don't think they'll get another chance. Okay, so they do manage to get, let's see, how much damage is this? So they get 3 rolls on our favorite, the Uhuru Death Chart here.
He's got the bullet dice.
They're not here.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. There is a tense situation happening elsewhere. And Nodoze is here. And Nodoze, committed to this, but not overcommitted, has more chance of being hit than anyone else. But let's see here. First roll is a 67, which is clear. Okay. Next roll is 34, which does hit.
But whom?
And next roll is 97, which does not hit.
Okay.
So now I will go over to Nodoze. I will lower his hit points by 1.
Okay. How many hit points does he have?
So he had 6. Now he is down to 5.
Okay.
And yeah, you have a sense of how this works. Every damage that an enemy rolls against an NPC basically opens them up to a damage roll on the death and damage chart. Nodoze is probably fine for this scene, but there aren't currently rules for how these NPCs recover these hit points, so this is still pretty significant. This represents Nodoze being in a near-death experience. I think what happens, Truss gives the order as Nodoze is in the room, and Nodoze hesitates for a moment. And that moment is him, understanding that within Truss right now is the captain in some way. She is speaking out loud as though she is in dialogue with the captain. He sensed something strange about her as soon as she got into the room. He has a shot at hitting Truss before she escapes with his spear. But he doesn't know if that's the right move. The captain didn't give an order of any kind. So he instead turns to deal with his pursuers. They have their muskets raised and ready to fire. He tries to jump out of the way, like back into the hall as quickly as he can. Wood sort of explodes in front of his face as the musket balls embed themselves in the side of the wall. Splinters move around him, like scratching up his cheek and his forehead. He is not killed, but if there had been an inch of difference, his head would have been blown off essentially by this. But we are now in a situation that Nodoze is much more familiar with, being outnumbered by people who are not nearly as good at fighting as he is. As we make our way to a PC slot, who's taking it?
Edith Truss is about to flee, maybe again. You know, she's got her out to the airship, but also Aravetti is right here. I think Oromar is going to play his hand and do a degree of direct force to try and make them run into each other.
I love this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
I'm tired of playing ball. And we're just gonna... how am I going to force this? I would say that they're puppeting the strings around us in intellect manner. So yeah, he's going to roll intellect and just start pulling at the paper pulp threads of this space to make it start moving by force.
Yes. I am going to say, because Oromar has never possessed another person before. He's possessed his own body, but it is different when there's kind of a soul already in the space that doesn't want to share that space.
This is true. The previous people have been willing, but
the base of this check is bedeviling. So that's 3 low stakes dice because Truss is a boss character. That is one of those is gonna be high stakes. So it's 2 low stakes, 1 high stakes die to try and overpower Truss. And I will say Truss is down to her last quote unquote hit point.
Cool.
So any success here, if you pull this off, will delay her enough to stop her plans. The thing, or to stop her full escape. The thing that is still in motion is next round, this round, I suppose, she is going to have her large force of red feather soldiers be able to meet her.
We don't want that shit. Absolutely not. So yeah, we gotta...
If you don't succeed here, her escape just goes as planned, and she makes it to the port. That says nothing of whether or not she gets in the sky, but you could stymie her before she gets to the port.
Okay, so we've got our 3d8 on intellect. I'm going to spend 3 points of intellect, putting me down to 3 out of 12 to upgrade those all to d12s. I also have my passive focus and desperation. If Oromar's intellect is 50% max or lower, select a target. Damage you deal against that target is now critical. That is going to be Edith Truss. We have 3 mastery, and we said 1 low, 1 low, 2 high stakes die.
It's 2 low, 1 high.
Okay. All right. Oh, yes, let's go.
Okay.
Oh, baby. This is a 2 success, 1 opportunity, and just 1. I think that might be
is that a victory?
Considering the high stakes die, that might be a despair. We'll see.
Oh, that is a
disaster. Yeah.
Okay. So what happens? You succeed at the thing that you are trying to do. So I would like you to describe how you are trying to see how you seize control, even if it's just momentarily, of Edith Truss, and thwart her escape or make it so that her rival Aravetti understands the route that she is taking.
I'm tired of playing nice. I wanted to give you an opportunity by your own hand to select your fate. To be honest with you, I don't give a fuck about how you die, but you die now. He just pulls. I think the books in the space just melt into pulp as he like pulls that into cords out of the space, and then starts yanking those around.
Yeah, I think there's like a weird kind of Cronenberg-esque like thing to this moment of it looks like a solid bookcase, but as you grab it, it's spider webs in Oromar, but I think here it is much clearer that it is like neurons. So like it is basically like the books on the bookcase like are suddenly this sort of like rubbery elastic like neuron structure running through them as you force control over
it's horrendous. The way that her body moves in the real space is I'm fully pulling on like the part of her brain that makes motor operations. She wrenches round.
What I think she is running with this contingent of people, and like her motor functions like drop out very suddenly. She cries in surprise, and I think she slams into a window on the building. That window just so happens to be connected to the main hall that Bishop Aravetti is currently striding through. So she can see, backlit by flames and the sky from outside, the robed figure of Bishop Aravetti walking calmly through flames. And I think the light catches his face in just the right way. She can see that his eyes are pretty scarred up right now. They're like, we're going to say they're basically sealed shut by whatever burns they experienced from the blinding light and actual lightning that coursed through his body. She sees his face, and he gives the faintest whisper of a smile. And she knows, even though he cannot see her, she has been perceived.
Yeah.
And there is a disaster in this. So Oromar succeeded in preventing Truss from having her full escape, but something bad happens, disconnected from what Oromar was trying to achieve, and it is definitely going to play into Truss's favor. And what I think it is, I think as those two make eye contact, as Truss begins to understand that she is in danger, that her escape has not been covered, we move to the other side of the building where the Sereno are burning at the walls with their strange implements. And then there is a surprise call from the acolyte who has accompanied them.